Hey Cody, how are you?
Hi, guys. Hey, Sal, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, Against UAB, guys were able to move the ball well, like you have been. I saw a few different tricks up your sleeve, so to speak. Some stuff you haven't run. It seems like you're able to keep the variety going and keep the defense off beat and off their toes. Done a good job of that. What do you really think why is this the success the success that you guys are having, what do you think is every week being consistent, is that part of it? Just what do you think is the key to your guys' success? Sorry, it's a long-winded question. I apologize.
It's a good question. I think, I talked to the guys the other day in the unit meeting, and, I told them that they are one of the best practice units that I've ever been a part of. And so it's very rare that I've left the practice field or the coaching staff has left the practice field feeling like we wasted an opportunity or they weren't prepared, or they took the day off or they wasted an opportunity doing individual reps or anything. Our guys come out every day in practice with a sense of urgency to get better. And that shows up on game day. So we have a really, really positive unit in terms of their practice habits. And it shows up in every opportunity that we get through the week, which allows us to do some things during the week and get to in game with our system and what we've been able to accomplish, because we do have a great practice unit. So we're able to advance during the week. We don't have a ton of missed assignments where we have to reload plays. So we're able to put maximum load on them in terms of what we do in a game plan. And then we're able to pull things out too, that we may have game planned earlier in the season and maybe didn't get to in games. And the recall that our guys have is incredible. We have a really bright unit, and they know what we're trying to do. And, they're very confident in our system and how we're trying to attack defenses and how we can mix it up. But we have an incredible practice unit, and it showed up again today. I thought the attention to detail and the urgency and the energy was there. And if we'll continue to have great practice habits, hopefully that will continue to show up in games.
Kind of puts things in perspective, because I remember when watching your earlier practices, maybe in the spring or the preseason, um how far you guys have come, do you see that too? I mean, first practice is the first practice of the spring or the preseason, but now to see where you guys are and how elite you guys are playing, is there a perspective there or a feeling there? Or
Yeah, I think we stress with them all the time that each piece is part of the process, whether it's spring football is a critical 15 practices, and your summer preparation is critical. And then you have fall camp, which is critical. And, that builds into practice for games. And then when you play games, you get reps, you get opportunities to grow, you get opportunities to get evaluated against real people who are trying to stop you. And we're challenged every day with the defense that we go against, and Coach Woody does a phenomenal job. So we're strained going against our guys. So that brings out the best in us in the competition phases. But, that's the goal, is to be better than you were at the beginning of the season. Every game you want to take a step forward. And that's the challenge. And that comes with preparation and practice habits. So every game, our challenge is to be better than the week before with our fundamentals, with our execution, with our effort, with our strain to finish. And I think our guys have accepted that responsibility. I think they've done a great job of wiping a win and putting it behind them and understanding that there's a lot that they need to focus on to get better. And that shows up over the course of the week of practice. And I think, the more game repetitions that you get and the chemistry that you get as a unit, those things show up, and I know people talk about how, how we have a veteran unit and we have a lot of experience, but, a lot of these guys, this is really their first go around doing what we've asked them to do, so I've been very pleased with the progress from week to week and our guys really attacking what they need to do to be successful.
absolutely. I know you'll take all four touchdowns, but did you have a favorite of Bryson's on Saturday? Or and did you watch the stiff arm a few times or no?
Yeah, I mean, play number one was a big boy run, and And we actually had a missed assignment on that play. He should have been accounted for, but luckily, Bryson accounted for him. And that's something that we rep a drill every Tuesday with the quarterbacks and with ball carriers. We call it finish drill. And he attacks finish drill like it's a game. And I try to put him in as many situations as you can to hone that part of his game. A lot of it is natural. That's how he runs the football. But he's been working on that and keeping his offhand free and being able to use that as a weapon while still protecting the ball. But he was able to account for an unblocked defender on that play. And then finishing the end zone, there was great effort on that play by Liam Fortner and guys blocking down the field. So that was, in a nutshell, that's, our culture. That was a black flag play per se, for sure. But anytime we have success, it's a tribute to all 11 guys.
Yeah, I was going to say that one touchdown run up the middle. Austin was finishing a block near the goal line. You pulled Connor Finucane on his 4th touchdown. He had a nice block. So, like you say, everybody's working together. Have you coached as physical of a quarterback as Bryson before?
I have not. He's one of one. It's hard to replicate his type of physicality and the things that he can do as a ball carrier. Because what he doesn't get credit for, I don't think, is short area quickness. He can make guys miss, but he can also run through you, and he can jump over you. So he's honed his craft, and he takes a lot of pride in how he practices and putting himself in a game. But he's one of one. I've never coached a kid as violent and as physical as he is at that position.
It's the midway point, and you see some, and I'm as guilty as it. You see some Heisman lists and stuff like that. Do you think that he belongs in the conversation with the best players in the country right now, the way he's playing?
I mean, I think the way that he leads our team and the type of teammate he is, I think anytime you get, individual accolades, it is attributed to team success. And he doesn't have the success without the 11 guys on that field, and he knows that. And he's been able to do some things and obviously score, and really he's performed really well. But it's because of the other 10 guys that he's playing with. So, I think he's an outstanding football player, and I'm glad that he's getting recognition for that. But really, it's a tribute to the guys around him and putting him in good positions, and him being able to execute his fundamentals at a high level and do his job. And he's doing it at a high level right now, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, one last one. What do you see as the challenge that East Carolina will bring on Saturday?
So a lot of familiarity. I worked for 2 seasons with their defensive coordinator. He was at Kennesaw with me. He's been on staffs. Coach Houston used to run the triple when he was at the Citadel, and at Lenore Ryan. So, they have a lot of familiarity with what we do, and I think anytime you have coaches who have a lot of familiarity, and their backs are against the wall, they're 3-3, they're coming off a loss in a rivalry game, they happen to rank us, and that just fuels them. They get to go on the road and play a ranked opponent, so I think for them, they have a lot of motivation coming into this game. And I think they're a unit that has consistently been very, very, very good on defense. And you look at last year, they were very good on defense. This year, they're in the top 10 in the country in turnovers forced. So it presents a major challenge for us. They'll present a lot of different looks and keep us off balance. And they'll be extremely well coached. And they will come with a grit and an effort unlike we've seen thus far this year. They're going to want to be here, and they're going to want to beat us. So we've got to do our job and do it at higher level than we have all year if we want to be successful against this unit.
Well, the best on Saturday, Cody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sal.
Hey, Cody, Ken McMillan from The Record.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
Good, thank you. Appreciate you asking. Cody, just to stick on Bryson for a moment here. Let's face it, the guy's getting a lot of attention nationally, but I mean, that also means he's getting a lot of attention from defensive coaches and how to stop this guy. Other than the number of carries, are you noticing teams are kind of keying on him more?
Well, I think anytime you touch the ball on every snap, in an offense that, we're going to implement the quarterback run, I think everybody kind of has a red dot on him and understands that he's going to be a guy that's going to carry the load and set the tone and do some things. So I certainly think defenses will, they're going to prepare for him. But it's our goal every week to force defenses to have to defend every facet of our offense. So hopefully we can take some pressure off of him and do some different things to put him in position to be successful. But I certainly think that the defenses know what we're trying to accomplish and the type of player that he is and how he's going to facilitate the ball and be a runner and a passer and, in the option game. But, I think as long as we can continue to keep defenses off balance and have success doing those things, I think that takes the pressure off of him.
Well, as I was mentioning about them keying on him, do you think Bryson's making good calls out there? I know you give him a lot of leeway to go A, B, C, whatever on a play. But I mean, let's face it, I'm not saying he's run happy, okay? Don't get me wrong. But are you ever concerned about him continuing making the right calls? Would he be happy having a 4-carry game while the other guys go crazy?
Well, I think as long as we win, he could care less. He's a phenomenal teammate. I think obviously his skill set helps drive our offensive game plans and what we try to do to be successful. We want to play 11-on-11 football as much as we can. So he's a focal point of the game plan every week as a ball carrier, as a passer, as a facilitator. But whatever it takes to win, we try to do that every week, and we try to put them in great positions. And sometimes that's him carrying the load. Sometimes that's dispersing it to other guys. But, we've got to continue to do what helps get first downs and put the ball in the end zone. And whatever that looks like, we're willing to do it.
14 receivers, 13 running backs, 3 quarterbacks thus far have gotten into the statistics. All, for the most part, have done pretty darn good. How do you feel about the spreading of the wealth and the fact that there are so many different guys coming up big for you?
Well, I think you see it, and again, it's how our kids prepare and it's how they practice. If you're a backup, those guys practice like they're going to be a starter because they're one play away. So we've been fortunate to get them some game reps and put them in positions that they haven't been in because I think that's critically important to their development. And, you see some penalties and we've overcome some things when that second unit has come in and they've got to continue to progress with their reps that they've gotten and they've got to learn from their mistakes. But I've been pleased with being able to see some guys get some game repetitions under their belt. I think it'll continue to help those guys in their development. But it's their practice preparation and continue to put themselves in a position where if their number's called, that they're ready.
Has your playbook expanded or, as the season moves on here, or have you kind of just stuck to the winning formula? If you're successful with 20 plays as opposed to good with 40, where are you at?
I think our system is really conducive to doing things that, hopefully we can be successful with schematically. We don't carry a ton, we carry a lot. I will say that. I think we have a lot of schemes that you see across college football with the addition of some things that are, pertinent to us. But I think it's critical as you progress that you can continue to put some things on our guys. They understand the crux of what we're trying to do to be successful, but a little wrinkle here and there, whether it's a formation, a motion, a different look to run the same core plays, I think is part of smart offensive football. So I think we'll continue to evolve as an offensive unit and do what we need to do to be successful. But we understand the crux of what we need to do and the importance of, we call it day one install, and we need to be able to, our bread and butter, to get to our day one install and execute those plays, no matter how the defense is playing us. But, I think the evolution of things needs to continue to progress week to week.
Cody, last thing, Coach Monken told us earlier that the hope is that Tyrell Robinson will be available this week. What have you seen? What can we honestly expect to see from a guy who's been out of playing active football for a while?
You know, what's been really great about T-Rob is he's been able to travel to every game. He's been up with us. You know, he's been practicing for a couple weeks, you know, and just to see him as a leader, even when he wasn't able to get practice reps, but being in the meeting with Coach Romero and being able to coach on the field and being able to signal and do some different things on game day and be involved, it's kept him in tune to what we're doing. So he's a guy that takes a lot of pride in what he does, you know, and he knows everything that we've been doing over the course of the last 6, 7 weeks. So, you know, I'm really excited just for the kid. You know, it's obviously exciting for us because he's a really talented player. But just for him to be able to come back and be a part of this unit and contribute to this unit, you know, I think is really exciting for not only us, but for him to get back into the mix because of the type of kid he is, the type of teammate he is, and I think he deserves it.
Do you like what you see from him so far as a player?
Absolutely. He's T-Rob.
All right. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, thank you, Ken.
Coach John Chuhran from CamVets Media, asking tonight about, it's halfway through the season. What are you most satisfied with, and where do you see the greatest opportunity for improvement?
Well, I think the things that we can do as an offensive unit to support our plan, I think we've been doing that at a high level, you know, protecting the ball, scoring in the red zone, moving the chains, running the football, you know, the things that we can do as a unit to help us win. I've been really proud of how we've attacked it and continue to get better as a unit week to week in practice habits, and it showed up in games. But there's still a lot left out there, and we're going to see challenges from here on out. You know, the unit that we're about to play is by far the best unit we've played in terms of how they're going to defend us and the sense of urgency that they're going to have to defend us. And, you know, I think they're going to be really motivated. So I think the things that we've got to continue to harp on are the things that we've harped on since August camp, you know, and that's fundamental execution and effort and the things that we need to do as a unit to be successful. So I don't think that we've hit that, you know, from a, you know, you look at every play of every game, we still have missed assignments. We still have efforts, you know, we still have issues with ball security at times or poor decision-making. So we have by far not come close to playing perfect, you know, and I know that's hard in the game of football, but we can play much better, you know, as a unit from snap one to the finish. And our players recognize that, and they're going to continue to progress and get better and attack things that they need to do to be successful. But there's a lot of football left and a lot of things that we need to continue to improve on if we want to continue making strides.
East Carolina's coming off a game where they gave up 55 points, and they've had an extra week to prepare. Do you think that the extra week helps them, or just lets them dwell on the past?
I think it absolutely helps them. You know, I know how they're coached, and, you know, I know their head coach. I know the culture that they try to instill. I know their defensive staff really well. You know, I think that they're going to be motivated. I mean, beyond belief. I mean, they're going to come in here motivated to get a win in conference play, to upset a ranked team, to play on the road. You know, there's a lot of motivating factors. And I think anytime you get a week to prepare, 2 weeks to prepare for an opponent, it certainly helps, you know. So I think, you know, coming in, we have a huge challenge this week, you know, and we've been playing catch up, you know. So they had 3 practices to prepare for us last week at least, and film study, and then watching our game this past weekend. They were able to sit at home and diagnose that and then get back to work this week. So I know that they will have a great plan. I know they'll come in motivated. I know their players will be ready to go. And, you know, we have a huge challenge to accept that role and responsibility to come out and play our brand of football, but do it at an elite level fundamentally. You know, that's critically important for our success on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. Have a great Saturday.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you guys.